Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Director's Garage Live. I'm your host and resident idiot, Michael. And yeah, we're back on the air. We're live. It's a Wednesday happy hour hump day hangout 4-H club as usual. And wow, got some headphones. I got to get these off because it drives me crazy to hear them. Rocking the ZMF Atrium today. ZMF Atrium. Man, I came upon a new appreciation, I guess I would say, for this video or for this headphone. Because I started playing with pads. I kind of wanted to hear these. I went through this whole Dylan thing. I'll talk about Dylan in a second, but I went through this whole Bob Dylan phase, and I wanted a headphone that was kind of a little less detailed, especially for those earlier albums where there's a lot of acoustic stuff going on. I wanted something that was a little more earthy and maybe a little darker, and that is this headphone. This headphone has a little bit of darkness to it, but it actually went too dark for my taste. I'm just doing a couple little color corrections. I'm like, I got a little too much, stuff going on. I'm going to cut that down just a little bit. So I was playing with these, and I was like, I'm not quite feeling it. I'm like, the treble is just not cutting through enough. So I thought, well, let me play with some of these other earpads. I've got 1,000 ZMF earpads that I've got accumulated over the years. And I went to Suede. I can even show them to you because I've got the fancy, hey, cheers everybody. But I can show you the Suede because I've got the wrong camera. Hey, let's do that. These are the Suede earpads, and I've been on leather. I personally like the feel of leather on my ears. I like the fenestrated leather, lambskin, that kind of thing. I really prefer that. And on most of my other headphones, you'll notice, I had a bunch of people notice, well, when I was using the Sesfara, doing the Sesfara stuff, yeah, I have lambskin pads on those. And I have the originals, and I've even used them recently. I don't notice a marked difference, like a radical difference switching between earpads on some headphones. So Sesfara, it's like they're the same distance. You're not changing the spatiality at all. I'll usually go, if I have the option and it doesn't really change the sound too much, I'll usually go with lambskin because I prefer the feel of the leather. But on these, when I changed to I guess these are like Alcantara or Suede pads, they're slightly fenestrated. They've got little holes in them, but the treble opened up. And it gave me exactly what I was looking for in these, and kind of gave me a renewed enthusiasm for my ZMF Atrium. So yeah, I have been using these a lot this week, along with that colorful number back there that we talked about on yesterday's show. Doing a lot of that listening too. But we can talk about that. Comments in the chat if you want to talk about it at all. Yeah, this headphone I wound up listening to. I spent hours and hours with these last night. The only thing is, the other thing I don't like about fenestrated, about Suede, is it's kind of warmer. And this room is warm normally because I have so much gear in here. So I just prefer generally the lambskin stuff, but the sound is such a difference. This is the biggest difference I've ever heard in a headphone pad on the sound, changing these over to Suede from the leather. So that's it. I've been listening to the Atrium. I thought I'd share that with you, little tip from your director on a long ass Wednesday getting into the holidays. Would they get here already? So yeah, that's the new product this week is from Woo Audio. We're going to show that off. Got a viewer system we're going to show off, a gaming rig from Wayne Hine, who chimed in early in the chat. But let's go to this new thing from Woo Audio real quick. I got the laptop of death ready. And I'll cut to it. There it is. And it's this Phantom DAC cable. And what they did was they buried the DAC in the jack, sort of like what Noble did with the new XMEMS technology. They put the thingy, not the DAC, but the conversion stuff in the jack, and then rolled it out to the amplifier in the headphones. But in this case, the DAC is built into the end of the cable, and then it can run into XLR or RCA. You can select all of this. Not the cheapest cable in the world. It's $449 for a 2-meter balanced XLR. Unbalanced will get you a little less expensive. And you can go to shorter cable and it'll be $399. So $400 and $500 for the balanced. Yeah, $499 is the max. If you get a 3-meter cable with a balanced XLR termination, that's the biggest price at $499. But kind of an interesting idea if you are a road warrior and you just have your computer and you want some sort of portable rig that can drive a larger than IEM setup. Why not? That seems like a pretty good idea. How it sounds, I have no idea. I think that somebody had a review this week talking about it, but I didn't get a chance to look at it. I just saw that it was out there. I got a notice from Woo, and you know, when Woo does something, I tend to listen. I like Woo stuff, and I really like. I've been using my WA5LE with the. Whoa, what are we going here? I've been using my WA5LE with the House Tungsten with very good results. So good, in fact, that I'm not worried about having to pack this Enlium up and send it away. I think that I've got a viable replacement in the WA5LE. It's driving them very, very well. So that's exciting. And I even tube rolled a little bit. I went back to the Takatsukis in that amp, and I'm giving the Western Electrics a little breather. It's been in there for 2 years. It's like, we'll change it up, see how it goes. I'm not married to anything. I just, you know, every now and then you want to get a little spice, little something different. And that was pretty cool. So yeah, the Woo drives the Tungsten very well. It's got a 5-watt output on that amp, and it's jamming. It's doing good things. Let's see what else I've got. Wayne Hine gave us a viewer thing. We're going to go over that in a few minutes. And Patreon. A few members have joined. Wayne is one of them. Ken from Ken Workshop has joined, and our first Patreon Zoom, where we're going to be able to have cameras in both ways, is going to take place on December 23rd at 9:30 in the morning, LA time. So do the math around the world, wherever you're at, and you'll know when you can join if you want to. You got to be it's a $5 basically tier for that Zoom call, and I'll send a custom link out to everybody so you all know where to go, and we'll get that up and running. It's going to be December 23rd at 9:30 in the morning. We're going to do this, but we're going to do it face to face with a whole bunch of folks on camera, and you're going to be able to show me your rigs, and I'll be able to kind of show you around some of this stuff. We'll just have a good time. It'll be a good hangout, and it's my first experiment in the camera to camera realm. So we'll give that a go and see how it plays. And if it's successful, we'll extend it. We'll do more of them. We'll have more frequently, and we'll see what happens. But trying to get as many people into that as possible, because I think the more of you that join, the more fun it's going to be. And right now, you know, it's a pilot program. This is in beta, and we're going to give it a shot. So good. The next episode of the Director's Garage, I'm going to try and get it out on Tuesday of next week, but we're a little behind in that one. I've written it. I haven't shot it. It's going to be the full-blown review of the Enlium 23R. That is an amp that has been here too long for my comfort. Not that I don't like the amp, but it's was sent to me by Audio 46, the kind folks over there, and I have had it for, probably a month now, and that's the longest I've had anything in-house that's been a lender. It usually comes in, I try to shoot it, get it reviewed, listen to it, and send it out, but we've had a lot of products come in, and a lot of products that could take advantage of that Enlium's thumping, driving power, and so I've held on to it a little longer than I normally would, and if Rodrigo Freitas is out there today, I'm sorry, Rodrigo. It's going to get back to you. I'm gonna wrap that video up and I'll get that sent back to you, and then I'll figure out how I'm going to buy one someday. But I do have the Bakoon still here, and that's also for sale on the Director's Garage. Got new product coming in that I bought this week. I found something that was like, okay, that's good. That's good. I can kind of afford that kind of. Oh boys, what are we doing? But yeah, I bought something new, and that'll be in a coming episode. It's not here yet, so I can't even tease it. But there you go. Letting the chat fill up a little bit. And interesting on the Susvara. I was talking about pads before. On the Susvara, I have 3 different pads. I have a Dakoni leather, which is the one that I normally use. It's a lambskin leather perforated, and I like the way it sounds, and I really like the way it feels. And then I have the stock one from HiFiman, which I bought a second one of those because one of the tabs was a little loose on one of them, and then on the original, and then so I've got a bought from HiFiman that one, and then I have I think it's like a dual leather and suede, what do they call it, hybrid? It's a hybrid pad from Dakoni, which I haven't played with at all. I just bought it to have it and threw it in the box. So maybe I'll get to that. Maybe I'll get to that at some point. But the big news this week was, of course, that Mod House headphone, and really super enjoyed checking that out. It was a big surprise for me. Ryan, who's here today, thank goodness. Take a bow, Ryan, for your amazing creation. Now, I want to hear that double, so don't forget about me. I want to hear the double magnet one at some point. And don't send it in my color, so I have to buy. I did purchase that headphone, by the way. This headphone is now a permanent member of the Director's Garage, and I don't think anybody else will buy these because they are so custom. So they will be around here, I think, for a long time. But yeah, we did wind up purchasing these from Ryan, and he did give me a discount on them, which I greatly appreciate, but I did send some money his way because that was just the best surprise on the planet ever, and I've been enjoying these. I'm getting a chance to check them out and find out what I think works best with them. There will be a full review of that in the coming weeks. It's going to be a minute because we're a little, we're jammed up still. I still have this big heavy mother of a box right here that's going to be 2 episodes away. I can tell you that it's another amp, and I don't know which one it is. It's something that was sent to me, and but we're going to be unboxing that in a couple of weeks, and we'll be trying that with all these headphones too. So really exciting stuff coming ahead in the coming weeks, and I can't wait to get to it. Plus now we're doing the Patreon thing. We're going to have this Zoom. Going to try that. If you guys want to try that, go over to, there's a link down below in the description under this video to the Patreon thingy, and y'all can check that out. And I hope you guys, a bunch of you, decide to come over there, because it'll be a lot of fun if we get a bunch of us in a room and we can start, interacting, and I'm not just talking all the time. My goodness. Yeah, so that was been my week. I've been listening to a lot of Dylan this week. I mentioned that earlier. I went back. For my job, I write a lot of scripts in addition to shooting. My main job is shooting, but then when I'm not shooting, I'm writing. And I happen to get a lot of obits. These are, nobody's gone, nobody's dead yet, but we need to prep for these things in advance for our show. So they tend to give me the music stuff. Go figure. So I write a lot of obits, and I recently was assigned a Bob Dylan obit, and I hope he's here for another 15 years, boys. I'm not trying to rush Mr. Dylan to an early grave, although he may, after hearing that, but when I do these things, I really go back. I go back and I'm looking at documentaries, I'm rewatching old footage, and I got to know more about him than even I thought I knew in the past. I mean, I always had an appreciation for his acoustic music, and then he made the move to electric, and I didn't realize what a huge risk that was because he, on his first 4 records, Dylan, well, really the first 3, and then the 4th one, there was a little bit of like some electric instruments, in there a little bit. And by the 5th one, it was like, boom, here's like a Rolling Stone, and this whole thing's going to be electric. It's over. The acoustic age is gone. But the risk that he took going, he had established an audience. He had written, some phenomenal protest and social awareness songs, the times they are changing, and oh God, I gotta call it because I'm drawing a blank because we're on there. Blown in the Wind, and A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall. I mean, these are incredibly powerful songs that he wrote, and a bunch of some other stuff, some other stuff that was more like love songs and things, but the core of his music was that he modeled himself after Woody Guthrie. Woody Guthrie was a folk singer from the 30s, really from the Depression era. And Woody was still alive at the time that Bob kind of took on that persona and decided he was going to work in the folk field and saw his niche. It was, to be fair, it was a little calculated. He manufactured his persona, Dylan did. He was a kid who wanted to make a living playing music, and he really thought that folk music was interesting to him, and he liked it, but he also saw it as a vehicle. It was calculated. So he comes out and he starts, working the clubs. He drives to New York. He starts playing around New York, and gets a name for himself. Gets invited up to Newport, and Newport Folk Festival was his kind of launch. It was his big thing, 1962 or 61, and somebody had seen him playing in New York, and they signed him to do a record at Columbia. The record did nothing. It was a mostly cover album, and one of the songs on that was a tribute to Woody Guthrie. It was a song he wrote for Woody Guthrie in Woody Guthrie's style, and he fully admits in later years that he was just kind of copying Woody Guthrie and doing his own thing with it. And he said, people listen to The Times They Are Changing, and they think that it's this thing that I was somehow inspired or was God-inspired kind of thing, and he woke up and he was going to be the champion of the folk cause, and he's like, I didn't want that. He's like, I didn't ask for that. I didn't want that. He said, go listen to some of Woody's music, and then listen to The Times They Are Changing, or, some of these other folk songs. He goes, I was playing so much Woody Guthrie, to write a song in the style of Woody Guthrie isn't that far a stretch. If you've played Woody Guthrie's songs for 1,000 times, you're like, oh, I'll do this, but I'm going to say this about it. So that was kind of interesting. And I saw there was something he did for Music Cares, an interview he did for Music Cares a few years ago. He was talking about where his different styles came from. And he goes, you know, none of this stuff is brand new. It's all evocative of stuff that I was listening to and playing myself in my sets. So he goes, you know, it's just to kind of downplay that. Oh my God, because everybody kind of anointed Dylan at the time as the savior of music, and he was going to come along and push us into this new era. And Dylan went, whoa, 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 you know, and so he did play a lot of folk music. He put those 4 records out that were so amazing, and then he went electric, and talk about alienating an audience. This is akin, if you're looking for a modern day reference, the closest reference to it I could think of was Taylor Swift throwing out her country music catalog and going all pop, going all mainstream. And Dylan's goal at the time, I believe, after watching all of his interviews and listening to him and going through all of this old footage and stuff, his goal was somebody said, yeah, this is really great and it's inspirational music, the folk stuff, but it's never going to chart. It's never going to be on the pop charts. And he went, oh, I can make a pop chart. I can make a pop single. I'm going to electrify my whole thing, and I'm going to go for a number 1 song. And he did it with like a Rolling Stone. I think it was number 1 or number 2. It was number 1 in some markets and number 2 in others. But he had a major hit in like a Rolling Stone, and that was it for him. He was established, and he had done what he wanted to. But I went back and I watched the old documentary, and it was called, it was the name of his album. It was called Another Side of Bob Dylan. And that, if you watch that documentary, it's in black and white, and it's all the footage of him, like in the years leading up to this electrification, this electrified album, that was Bringing It All Back Home. That was his first. Bring It All Back Home was the first electric Dylan album, right? And he gets up on stage at Newport in 65, I think it was. Maybe it was 66. And he starts playing, you know, Bob Dylan, who's been revered. This guy has been, there was a year where he was up there with Joan Baez, and they were singing folk songs and stuff, and he gets off, and they literally, the crowd would not let the festival bring on the next act. They demanded that they bring Dylan back up on stage, and he eventually did. So, he comes out in 1965 and gets up there, and everybody's like, oh, it's the Dylan set. It's what we've waited all year for this. Here we go. And he starts playing electric music. And I swear it must have been 3/4 of the audience is booing through the set. This guy that they have anointed as the next, you know, the next great folk singer, the next great folk artist. He's going to take folk from the Woody Guthrie and Pete Seeger era and bring it to the modern times for a new generation. And they are booing his ass. And it's hard. And he traveled to London, and he played the electric set in London. He did half the concert in electric, and then the back end of the concert was acoustic. And booze in London, getting booed everywhere he went, heckled. And the Beatles were in the audience for that. Fred Articles, because here's another clue. One of my next obits is for Paul McCartney. So I've been watching some Beatles stuff too. It's like I'm putting them in their coffin, boys. It's so bad. But you know, the Beatles were there, and they watched this, and they were just in awe over Dylan. They were in awe over the electric set, and they borrowed in their own way for Rubber Soul Dylan stuff. If you listen to that album, it is the most Dylan influenced. It's as Dylan influenced as the Byrds album, you know, and they directly lifted Dylan songs. But that was the, you know, Norwegian Wood. If that's not a Dylan song, I don't know what is. That it's so Dylan. Everything about it is Dylan, but it's done in the Beatles style, and it's using their own creativity and sensibilities. It's a great track. But it's, if you think that that came out of nowhere, that came from Dylan. There's no question, you know. Just interesting stuff. Anyway, so that's my Dylan, and I was just struck by this celebrated artist. And I put in this documentary, and I'm like, I'm just watching through it because I'm like, I knew that he went electric at one point, and I knew that it was controversial and everything. I didn't know half the audience frickin' booing this guy off stage, and it followed him everywhere, and he just stuck with it. He's like, this is who I am today. That was who I was yesterday, and he still played those songs. He still did those sets because that was a part of him too. But he's like, my new direction is here, and I invite you along for the ride. But but he was so steadfast, and he was so sure of what he was doing, and eventually the audience did follow him, and they did buy him. But those first concerts was like, whoa, that was rough. It was hard to watch. You actually felt for this guy. But he was headstrong. He was headstrong and a little manipulative. He was definitely calculating. Dylan was, and he is the most enigmatic and interesting artist probably of my lifetime. And he's kind of before my lifetime, really, because he was before I was born. But he is, definitely, he's interesting and controversial and acerbic and interesting at the same time. Just, I really had a good time. So that's my Bob Dylan story for the day. That's what I've been doing. And I'll let you know what I find out on Paul McCartney as I go through it. I'm in the early stages of that one. Okay, let's go to the chat now. Wayne Hine, we got a viewer system. We're going to look at Wayne's gaming rig in a few minutes here. Good afternoon, Kevin Jacques. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. I am the Jalou. You were here last week. Tommy V, always good to see you. Gene Fruit, very good. Ace of Spades, Hipster Cow, Ryan Dietz, just wanted to say thank you again for your review yesterday. Really cool to see you enjoying them so much. I really did, and I really did. This is phenomenal. This is a party in a box. This is just, oh my goodness, I can't take this call. Guys, I got to go to a slate. I got to take this for work, and I'm sorry. 2 seconds. I gotta get a slate up. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta take this. That one's important. And I'll have to call him back. So we're gonna go to a transition, and I will be back momentarily. Stand by, folks. All right, boys, we're back. Sorry about that. There are some calls you need to take. That was one I needed to take that call. Sorry. Oh, so embarrassing. But sorry, when work calls like that, it was somebody major, so I needed to have that chat real quick. Nothing major. No harm. Nobody's dead. I just need to take the call. Okay, so Ryan, yes. Ryan, thank you. It was so cool for you to send these my way. And what a surprise, guys. What a surprise. And hats off. If I was wearing a hat, I'd take a hat off because what is this not the best sales pitch ever? You want to get somebody to buy your product? Send it to them custom. So awesome. But I do want to hear the double-sided magnet one, though. Don't forget about me. I am the Jew. You really knocked it out of the park with the tungsten. Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Glad you guys watched it. A lot of people watched it. It was great. And Ryan knocked it out of the park with the tungsten. I did knock it out of the park with my review. It was Ryan, yes. And I would agree to that entirely. Got a new streamer. Ace of Spades got a new streamer. LPS DDC combo this week. So his source is improved. Both his headphone and 2-channel chains. Very happy for his invested dollars. Now, DDC. I don't know. Oh, is it IPS? IPS I think I've heard of. But I don't know about the streamer, Ace of Spades. I'd love to see a picture. Can you take a picture and send it to me? Email it to me, Ace of Spades. I'll show it off on the show. That would be great. Hipster Kyle has to agree he's a fan of the tungstens. Reminds him of an LCD4, LCD5 hybrid that you need to power with the sun. Once the funds are available, he'll have to buy one. Yeah, I mean, they do take a lot of power. I was pleased to see that my existing Woo amp will drive these well and drive them happily and really provide the punch that they need. So I was a little nervous about sending that Enlium away, and I still had the 13R, and that would do a good job also. But I was a little like having a little separation anxiety because I know that the day is coming when I have to send that Enlium back. And I feel comfortable now that I've got something that will actually drive them comfortably and I can go to for them. Detect. Boy, what is with today? What is with today, boys? Okay, it doesn't look like anything. Okay, all right, whatever. And for sound signature, I kind of get on board with the LCD4 thing, but these are sharper than the 4. These have more detail. These are more like Cisfara Caldera territory, but really full and rounded. I mean, I'm going to get into these when I do the full review. I've only had them really for a few days now, and I'm just starting to listen to them. And some people are saying that I should wait and let them break in a little bit because it'll help that mid bass. I was talking about a mid bass deficiency in these on acoustic music. Like, it didn't sound like string basses were as well represented as electric basses, which tend to go push a little lower, punch a little lower. So I'll take. I don't know. I've never heard of break-in radically altering the shape of the sound. I know some people swear by it. I know some people say it's audio voodoo or harsher. but and by the way, if you've ever heard of it, there's a Facebook group that is outstanding. It's called Audio Bullshit. And just subscribe to that Facebook group because they put some stuff out that they'll have you crying. It's really funny. Some funny stuff. But yeah, I like these, and I just had a great time with them, and the stage on these, like the stage, and that's where I guess I would differ, because the 4 has a decent stage, the 5 doesn't have a stage at all, and these have a massive stage. I'd almost say, like, give them more Abyss props because the stage is so wide. It's like the 1266 TC, so it's kind of giving me those vibes. And then with that hard punch down low, if you've got the right amp on them, maybe more in that lane, like maybe more Abyss to Cisfara with the detail. Or Caldera, yeah, somewhere in there is really where I would put these. But the salient point that I don't want anybody to miss is that we're talking about a $1,500 to $2,000 headphone, and I'm comparing them to $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 headphones. You see what I'm saying here? Like, the value is significant. Like, you're getting a lot of value. So just that's the point of this, is that the sound you're getting, these things are punching 2-3 times their price. That's impressive. That's something that makes these should be something anybody should want to audition if they have the amps to drive it. And they ain't easy, folks. They're harder to drive than the Susvara. That much I can tell you. I'm not married to anything. Don't let this as director. Hipster Cow with the early comment of the day. Well, we got to drink to that. Everybody raise a glass to Hipster Cow. That is the best comment of the day. I'm not married to anything. Don't let Mrs. Director hear that. 23rd, Festivus. Yes, we're going to do our first annual Zoom Festivus Festival. I don't know, on Zoom, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I hope you guys get to jump on that. It'd be fun if we get a whole bunch of guys over there and we're just kind of like showing stuff off and having a good time. I'd love to do this where we actually do get to interact and I don't have to read your comments, as opposed to, we can actually say your comments and have discussion, get good discussion going. God, I saw this awesome interview today. I had a few minutes and I was clicking around, and this conversation with, I'm a fan of Rick Beato. I don't get to watch much of his stuff. He fascinates me with his music theory because he does know music theory so well. So I try to follow along on those things because I am interested in music structure and how they put stuff together. I am something of a student of songs. I like to understand songs and how they're put together and what they were doing and descending and ascending and things like that. But he had a conversation with a couple of other musicians in the industry, and the hard part of it was they were talking about headphones. How do they listen to their music? And the one guy's like, "Oh, I have Beats." And the other guy's like, I have earbuds. I just, I go out with my Apple earbuds and go for a walk, and, then I'll bring, but I really prefer them on speakers. And then I got another guy the other guy there was like, I have Focals. And I'm like, oh boys, we gotta hook you guys up with some serious product over there. And I said, we got to make these guys cry because they're really interesting folks. And they were having a discussion. One of their discussions was about the best second album of all time. I'm not going to introduce that here because I don't need to go into it. But the point that was one of the most interesting things that they mentioned in that, and this stuck with me and it's been rolling around my head all day, and I thought I'd share it with you guys, is we know more about older acts than we do about the artists of today. And it's interesting because we have more tools at our avail to find out as much about people as we want to know. We've got Google and we've got all this stuff. And yet we know more about Joni Mitchell, this was their point, Joni Mitchell, than we know about Beyonce. How can that be? But it's true, because Beyonce only shows you what she wants to show you. Joni Mitchell would have people tour with her, would have journalists tour with her and let them follow her around. And that was a whole thing back then. These guys, Dave Marsh and all these journalists, classic journalists, Cameron Crowe, toured with bands and got inside stories for their magazines, for Cream and Melody Maker, and all of these magazines would send, our Rolling Stone would send journalists on the road with artists to report on what was going on with the band and stuff. And we would hear about, the arguments and the struggles that the bands were having, and disagreements in creativity, and disagreements over how they were going to get to the next, what time they were going to get on stage for their warm-up. All that stuff would come out. And what we get from Beyonce is filtered. She shows us on Instagram, she shows us on Instagram what she wants us to see. And we don't really get to know much about her. And everybody knows, you know, when somebody goes up on stage, they're playing the role of who their persona is on stage. The difference between, say, a David Byrne on stage when he's playing with, you know, performing with the Talking Heads, and who he is when he's off stage having a beer with me and, you know, in some fantasy land, you know, having a beer with friends, are two different people. You know, there's a dichotomy there. And even, you know, like a Mick Jagger will tell you, you know, or Roger Daltrey would say, hey, he would go on stage and he would turn into this aggressive, he was an aggressive guy. And there were early in their career, the Who would break into fist fights on stage between the band members, let alone the audience. They were just that rough and tumble thing. But off stage, there were a bunch of, you know, average guys, you know. So very, very interesting, you know, we know more about the artists of old than we do the artists of today, because we don't get to really know or see the artists of today. We only get to see what they want to show us on social media. Very good. Christopher Luckabach, really enjoyed the Mod House video from yesterday. Thank you very much. I was curious if it was single-sided or double-sided. I don't think it was mentioned. It wasn't mentioned in the video, but all over the comments, everybody asked the same question. So it was single-sided. Yes, it was the single-sided, and I want to hear the double-sided to hear what the difference is. I would love to hear that, and then I'll go. Gee, I like the double-sided. Can I send these back to you and get them modified and with the double-sided driver in? I'll pay you. Double-sided is killer. Don't hang that over my head, boys, because I only had. Don't make me have double envy, double-sided envy. we don't have penis envy around here. We have magnet envy. God. Maybe Petus Maximus. Jan, what are you powering the double-sided with? That's awesome that you're enjoying it. Hey, everyone, Caldera on the way, arriving Friday. Can't wait. Caldera, you know, it's a time of year when all of these folks at these different stores and stuff are putting out their best of lists. And I have seen probably 3 or 4 best of lists, and not one of them mentions the ZMF Caldera. And I'm like, if that isn't the product of the year, I don't know how you can call anything else. I can't remember a product. Maybe the tungsten. Sorry, Ryan, throwing that out there for you. But that made such a revolution in what to expect and what we can get at a price point. And, you know, here's a product that's $3,000, $3,500, and gives you a lot of what the Susvara can give you, but with outstanding bass and maybe sacrificing just a touch of speed. And I'm like, and to do what they were able to achieve with the Caldera, and I love the Atriums, and I love these. I just think that product is such a landmark. It's just next level. It just jumped ZMF. It was, you know, this I believe was the turning point in ZMF's evolution. I think the Caldera is like that's where they upped their game. Their game, they just went for it, and what to deliver that headphone, and to not even make like the top 10 list. But I know that a lot of these places, like, they're trying to sell product, and they're only going to put a top 10 item as something that they actually sell in their house. And you have to go to ZMF to buy your headphones, and they probably some of these folks are tied to vendors and stuff. But I'm like, I wish I could tell you to go to, you know, Audio 46, because they're my sort of semi-partner in this, and they send me stuff to review to buy the ZMF. But I'm telling you, like, ZMF is the product of 2023. I don't think there's anything, you know, else that I could put in that in that category. Like, it's just such a remarkable, fresh product. I mean, it was everything. It was all the things. So yeah, I think of that. I think the Caldera is the product of the year, and I think it's going to get like shortchanged on a lot of lists because they don't sell them in a store anywhere. And I think that's the same fate with the Mod House, because you have to buy them from Mod House. You can't go to, headphones.com and pick them up. Did I say that? Jan Frederick Rumpf. Oh my God. Jan, I'm going to call you Jan. I'm going to assume it's Jan Frederick Rumpf. And cheers, by the way, because your first time here. Okay. He has a Cayin HA3A, Zale HM1, and Soundcause SGP1. I don't know what that is. Power amp. The Soundcause with the HM1 as a pre is his favorite combo. Currently waiting for a Felix Euphoria as a 2 pre. Man, you got some serious gear going on there, Jan. That's impressive stuff. I only have of that. I've only heard of the HA3A and the Zale, and I've only heard myself the Zale HM1. So I can't even like comment on and even the Felix. I've heard of it, but I haven't heard it at all. So you're way ahead, man. That's incredible. And I got to look up I'm gonna have to look all that stuff up because I don't know what it is. In fact, I'm gonna copy that one over to my notes list so for further research because I need to. Breaking news: big car crash near. Well, I'm not gonna leave that alone. Okay. Yeah, that's. I mean, here now you're. This is the director's garage, not the. It's spelled PORNHUB. It's .com. That's what you're looking for. Perp doll. Yes, wrong chat. Exactly. Hipster Cow, thanks. What amps do you have? Jan, funny seeing you here, lol. I don't know, Jan. TK, congrats on the Caldera. That's awesome. Ryan Dietz, he's everywhere. Good to see you. Christopher Luckenbach, the Ferrum Wandla as a DAC. I've heard great things about the Wandla, and if I still had the Ferrum stack, I probably would have bought the Wandla by now. But I traded the Ferrum stack for the D8000 or for the X9000 from STAX. So I had to. Hey, Michael, won't forget about you on the DS. Also, the grills are easy to swap if you want to put them on a DS. Okay, great. But, maybe I'll like the single-sided better. I hear these are the skinny that I'm hearing, and Ryan has talked to me about it too. These are more fun. The other ones are more like technical. So I may like the more fun. I tend to prefer fun headphones. That's why I like the Elite so much. The Elite is a fun headphone. It does the things, but it's more fun than anything. It's a good time and comfortable. And that's another headphone that I'll put the thicker pads on it. Even though it doesn't sound as good, I'll put the thicker pads on because they're so much more comfortable with those big Meze Empyrean pads on them. Even though they're saying, buy the angled. I will buy the angled at some point just to try them out, but the Meze. I go with the Empyrean pads because they're just the most comfortable pads ever. Man, you got to start a music history channel because you could listen to this for hours. I know. And I could go on for hours. That's the sad part. I could just keep going. Harry Chan. Cheers, Harry Chan. Welcome to the channel. Anybody who's new here, we cheers, raise a glass to everybody around the world. Give you some good vibes, send some good vibes your way for stopping by. How you doing? Just want to ask, which 1266 model driver do you prefer, the old Fire or the new TC? The new TC. New TC has more speed and more speed. I could make that old 1266. I could push it into getting like mid frequency distortion. It did not separate out the mids really well on really complex stuff. This is a much faster driver. The TC all the way. I would not go backwards on that one. Yeah, and you'll hear more about the TC in the Enlium review that's coming hopefully next week if I can get my act together. Dylan's middle name. Dylan is Michael's middle name. Okay, wait. That's like, what's Dylan's middle name? Well, he's Bobby Zimmerman was how it was his real name, and he changed his name to Bob Dylan after the poet Dylan Thomas. It seemed like it was a catchier thing than Zimmerman. Can't wait to get his Christmas present of Dan Clark Aeon 2 Noir headphones. Those are good headphones, Wayne. I got to tell you, those are that was. Y'all know I have like a struggle. I want to love Dan Clark Audio products so much. I'm like, it's a company that I root for. They have several things going against them. One is their connectors are proprietary on their headphones. Nobody else uses that thing. And I'm like, dude, get with the program. This or this. That's it. That is all I'm willing to accept from manufacturers going forward. And if they're going to be weenies like Sennheiser and Focal and all these, forget you. Get with the program and adopt or mutate. That's number one. Number two is I haven't heard, other than the Dan Clark Aeon 2 Noir, the closed back. It's about $900. I haven't heard a Dan Clark Audio headphone that I really enjoyed. I have been trying so hard to like the Expanse. I have tried them on every amp. I have tried them on everything. They're, at the end of the day, it's a $4,000 headphone that's not fast enough. It's like it's got Empyrean level of detail. That's what I hear. I mean, I'm sure there are people that disagree with me, but I'm like, this headphone has yet to impress me, and I keep hanging on to it. I finally did put them up for sale. There's some stuff in the new stuff in the director's garage this week's garage sale down below. I think if I copied over the right thing. I don't know. If not, go to the last episode. Go to yesterday's episode. There's stuff down there in that one. But I listed these on HeadFi this week. The Expanse, and they think this metamaterial, this DC, what is it called? What do they call it? Atrium, Oh, AMTS. It's AMTS metamaterial that they've been putting in there. This like stuff that sucks up sound, it absorbs sound waves and removes standing waves, and I can't make a difference. Can tell you it doesn't make a difference to me. They don't sound exciting. They're not exciting headphones. And I wanted to like the Stealth, and I wanted to like the Expanse. I bought the Expanse with my own money, put a special cable on it. Tried it with the Enlium, tried it with the Bakoon, tried it with everything, and I can't make that headphone sound like a $4,000 headphone. It doesn't. It's that. If you want to know how great the Caldera is and how important the Caldera is, listen to the Expanse. $1,000 more for that headphone. I cannot get there. I can't get there. I don't know how they do it. Okay, Wayne. He's got his NAR coming in. Purple Dollo, cheers. Ryan, how long does it place an order on your website for a Tungsten? I noticed that they were sold out for now, but keep with Ryan. Ryan will hook you up. He doesn't not want to sell headphones. I can tell you that. I can guarantee you that. Yeah, these are, and kudos to Ryan for. Don't just believe me, and don't just believe my show, because the show is the show, and I get excited over things that sound new, and this is a new take on sound. I really enjoy them, but don't believe just me. Just listen, look at the raves that are online for this headphone, and it's not just guys who are on YouTube. Just read reviews on HeadFi. Look at the praise that this headphone is getting. Kudos to Ryan for doing something original and trying something new and really delivering on it. And I'm excited because I know in my head he's got to be thinking, I love how this sounds. How can I make them easier to drive and more accessible? you know, because if he can solve the amp situation with these, where they can, you know, be driven by a mere mortal amp, these become instantly mainstream. It's going to become a headphone that everybody is going to be clamoring to get, because right now it's like you've got to calculate, well, I've got this, but I got to get something to drive them. I can't just put this on my Cavalli tube hybrid from Drop. You know, like it ain't going to do it. You know, the Zale, I don't know if I can stage the gain. I don't have anything that'll stage the gain high enough to drive these through the Zale. It's just, I'm just wide open to get a nominal listening, and I'm sure that I'm not driving these properly that way by running these at full power out of the Zale. I can't see that as doing these things justice. It's not a good way to drive anything wide open like that. I need to get something to stage the gain even higher, and I'm like, I'm out of volts. No more volts, boys. Purple Dollar thinks we're going to be doing the 22nd next, so he'll have a new drop. Is that what it is, Ryan? There's going to be a new drop on the 22nd of Mod House headphones. You'll be able to get online and pick them up. That's awesome. We like that. Ryan says, take with a grain of salt. In his opinion, the double-sided is more similar to the Sysfara, while the single-sided is more of a contrast. Okay, well, that's mysterious. What does a contrast sound like? I want to hear. Okay, digital to digital converter. Okay, I don't know what that means. Ryan Dietz says, glad to hear the WA5 is a good match. It is. It is a good match. I got a chance to hear it, and I even did some tube swapping on it, and we'll get into that when I do the full review of this. I don't want to, you know, it's like, it's not, I don't have enough, I don't have enough hours on these yet. I need to do some more listening. Instead, I'm listening to Dylan on my Atrium. It's my spare time, my spare listening this week, but it's for work. It's, you know, it's all for a good cause. Timothy, again, like going from USB to SpeedF. Very good to know, Ryan. We'll take your recommendation with more than a grain of salt. Okay, so let's do this real quick. I'm going to put a pause in the chat real quick because I want to show off the review, the system of Wayne Hine, who's in our chat today. And he sent me some photos. And if you have photos that you want to send me, boys, you know you can do that. There's a magic way to do it, and that is this. That is the directorsgarage@gmail.com. Send me your photos, your home stuff, and we'll take a look at it. They don't have to be the fanciest system in the world. If they are, we're going to Oogle it, and if they are not, then we're going to find that exciting too. Okay, I've got this all set up. Good. And so this is Wayne's. It's kind of a gaming setup, and this is cool because this, in some ways, is more practical than... okay, so we got this set. I got to go to... Hold on. Oh, let's lose this. And here, laptop of death, auto. So this is his gaming rig. And he's got a Burson, a beautiful Burson amp here. And that is... Hang on. I've got all this information because I kept it. I saved it. This is the Burson Playmate 2 with the Vivid V6 amps in them. So this is a Burson amp. He's coming off of his computer, and his headphone. I love the keyboard. I love the colored keyboard. That's fun. And then the headphone. These are Astell&Kern headphones, AK headphones. And look at the cable. Look at the righteous cable on this thing. That thing is awesome. Now my only question is that your computer right next? Are you dealing with all that fan noise right next to your headphone rig? Well, they're closed backs, so I guess you're muffling that out. But oh my goodness, my biggest struggle in my life right now is getting fan noise out of the picture. And I finally made some major strides last week. I hope to God that this live stream is much quieter than my last few, because I ripped those fans out. It's about a week ago, and the difference has been incredible. But check this out, really cool setup from, and it's nice that it's not like dominating your desktop. Why is that giving me a hard time? Hey MacBook, get with the picture. Love the remote, very cool there. And again, look at the cable going into that. That thing is bitchin' cable. That's got to be aftermarket. Yeah, Astell&Kern, does Astell&Kern sell that cable with their headphone? That is a bitchin' cable. But I love the Burson stuff. I think it looks so cool. And this is awesome. This is awesome. What a fun time. What a fun time. I love looking at your guys' setups. I'm such a fan of that. And if you if you have a system, it doesn't have to be professional pictures. It can be a small setup like Wayne has here, and it can be something really advanced. We've had some really advanced systems. I don't care. I just want to look at stuff. Look at cool stuff. That is awesome. And what a remote. Damn. Looking good. Looking good. So if you have any photos, email them to directorsgarage@gmail.com. We'll put them on a future Director's Garage Happy Hour Humpday Hangout that we do every week. Every week at 3:30 on Wednesday is our normal time slot. And we're in here every week. And if you can make it, but sometimes we shift to Friday, and sometimes I have to shift the hours a little bit because of my work. But yeah, it's that's when you can kind of drop by here. Usually we're here on Wednesdays from about 3:30 to 5 o'clock roughly, LA time, Pacific. Your mileage may vary depending on where you're at. So good. Okay, back to the chat here. And thank you, Wayne, for sending that in. Wayne is Patreon. He just joined Patreon last week. So he's going to be in that Zoom Patreon chat on December 23rd, if he can make it. Hope he can make it. That'd be great. Okay, so where are we at here? Where was I at on the chat? I've lost my place in the chat. Very good to know, a grain of salt. Okay, you and Zeos are two reviewers that own the Tungsten and really enjoying them. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm not really aware of, I got to be honest, Tommy V, I don't have a chance to follow what other guys are doing. I'll at best what I see is like something will pop up in, you know, like when you click on YouTube and it gives you a bunch of windows of things that it thinks you might want to watch. Those guys will pop up in there sometime with what they're reviewing and stuff. All I know is like about 6 months ago, Zeos and I were, it was like I was prepping a review and Zeos would put it out like the day before mine. It's like I had like 3 or 4 products in a row. I'm like, how is this happening? Like we have no connection to each other. I've never talked to Zeos in my life. I've never met Zeos in my life. And yet for some reason, he keeps like putting out a review one day before I put out my review of the same product. And I'm out of cycle on this stuff. You know, most of the stuff I get has been around for a minute. You know, I get some stuff from Noble that, you know, thankfully, John Moulton sends me some stuff that I get to look at first, but like generally speaking, like I'm down the food chain because I'm the smaller channel. So funny, but, yeah, so, I don't know that Zeos, I haven't seen Zeos's, review of them, but, I'll take your word for it. And, I certainly think these are worth, at this price, guys. I mean, they punch so much higher than their price point. It's kind of a no-brainer to at least consider these and listen to them at a show, or you know, find them somewhere, or just outright buy them if you've got the guts to spend $1,500 sight unseen. I'm telling you that you're not going to be, as long as you have a good amp, you're not going to be disappointed. They really are a good listen. Empyrean 2 is getting massive hype. The boys in the forum say it's way overhyped. I don't know, and I haven't heard them, Ace. I haven't heard them myself, and I'm pretty happy with the Elite, But, you know, I'm always interested to hear something new. And maybe Audio 46 will do me a solid and send them next after I'm sure they're like, director, can we please get our Empyrean back? I'm the Jalou. God, I'm going to learn how to pronounce that one of these days. I'm going to call you I am. I am, honestly, I'm with you. The Dan Clark Audio Expanse really left me severely wanting. It's, you know, I want to enjoy everything I listen to. I walk in with expectations and like excitement. I never put something on going, boy, I hope that these just suck. But you know, I hope these surprise me because I'm not expecting good things. I put everything on expecting something great, and I'm like, well, oh boy, that they're so well constructed. They've got a world-class hinge mechanism on them. They're beautiful looking. They feel good. They have a good comfort factor. They're an interesting design. I love the tech that went into them, but it's just not delivering the sound. For $4,000, it's got to give me something in the sound that makes me like go, oh, I've got to have these. Like I just want to keep them. And all I can think about is who wants them, and they're not selling. I've had them for sale for a few weeks now. I guess I just put them wide this week, so we'll see if anybody bites. Had an offer to do a trade for WA33. Somebody said, you know, would you trade, you know, bundle a couple things maybe together and trade for the WA33? And I'm like, I've got the WA5. I just don't see the need for the 33 in house. I'm sure it's better. But I've heard both amps and like they're in the same lane. This is a 300B amp, so it's going to give you a little different flavor. It's going to be a little warmer, but you know, I don't know. I'm like, I buying another tube. I'm like, I would personally, if I'm given the choice, I would rather have the Enlium because of what the Enlium does. You'll hear about this next week. Over the WA33, which is a great amp. It's a world-class amp. I just think that the Enlium does something that other amps don't, and that's exciting. That's worth looking at. Is it the best amp ever? No. I'm going to point out some flaws in this amp. There's some serious problems here. But there's also some greatness that I don't know that any other amp can deliver. So there's that. Felix Audio is great stuff. I've seen it and Googled it, and I've seen photos of Felix, but I've never heard it. I've never sat down with it. So what you're saying is you don't like the Harman curve. I couldn't even draw you the Harman curve. That's how I hate graphs. Because graphs are, I have so many issues with graphs. I guess, Gene, here's the thing of it. To measure a headphone, you're going to put it on a rig, and you're going to play some sound out of it, and you're going to capture it on a microphone that's going to, in theory, do the work of an eardrum. And then you're going to do some compensation for that, and you're going to do some stuff, and you're going to put it through a thing, and you're going to come out with this graph. What's the microphone you're using? What are you using to power the microphone? What's your preamp on the microphone? What are you using? How are you capturing the sound? What is the audio app you're using? All of these things are going to affect your graph and your result. Every one of those things. And starting with the mic, because all mics are different, and they all have things that they're good at and things that they're bad at. And you can try and compensate for them, but the difference between hearing it and the graph of this is night and day. I use a graph. If I'm going to look at a graph, I'll go, okay, there's a general reference there. It's supposed to be kind of bassy and kind of, but if you use that graph to do anything more than tell you what you think it's, you know, like give you a rough representation of it, if you're dying on the hill of the graph, you're going to miss out on some great products. Because you can't graph detail, you can't graph warmth, you can't graph openness, you can't graph soundstage, you can't graph emotion. And there are products, I have no idea how this graphs, and I don't give a shit. I really don't. And I'm not going off on you, my friend. I'm not. I'm just going off on the whole graph thing. I don't know how these graph. They may graph great. They may graph horribly. They sound good. They sound great. And these sound great. These sound phenomenal. You can't, it's got a good beat, but you can't dance to it. Let's put a ranking on it. What for? What for? And then you're going to put you'll put a ranking on it. What amp are you use? Here's the other thing. What's your chain? Because the chain is going to affect how the headphone sounds. So don't tell me what your Harman graph is, because what's the amp leading in that's getting you the Harman graph? There's so many problems with graphs I can't even get. It drives me buggers. It drives me buggers. There's so many problems with graphs, I can't even get into it. And I just got into it. So it's like, I know it's a little mini rant and whatever, but you'll never see me graph anything. First of all, I think graphs are boring to look at. It's like visually, it's like, hey, let's just put up a squiggly line and talk about it. It's like, you can't make worse television, so I'm not going to do that. And then I don't think the graphs are accurate. I don't think the graphs are telling you what you need to know about the headphone. So you can look at a graph and you can go, well, this is roughly kind of what I like, so I would try that out maybe. You know, like that might be something that the graph can show you, but there's so much that the graph can't show you and can't reveal that I find graphs relatively worthless. So, you know, and again, this headphone on the Zale isn't all that impressive. This headphone on the WA5LE and on the Enlium is spectacular. It brings stuff out of these. The Susvara is a mediocre headphone at best on most of the amps that I've had in here. It wasn't until I got the Enlium that I was like, oh, these are showing me something finally. Everything else was like, I'm like, why would I buy this when I've got a Caldera sitting at $3,000? Well, when I put it with the Enlium, with the $12,000 DAC in front of it, suddenly I'm getting detail that I've never heard from them, and I'm getting impact from the bass, and I'm getting stuff you can't, graph slam. You know what I mean? So, and the headphone doesn't sound that good. Maybe I'm assuming that the Susvara probably graphs unicorn farts. You know, it's like, it probably looks amazing on a graph, because it's, everybody reveres it as like one of the great headphones. But, and I don't know what the graph of the Susvara looks like, but I'm saying that graph is going to look radically different if you're punching it through I don't know. I'm trying to think of a shit something, Asgard, whatever, and an Enlium 23R. They just sound radically. The headphone takes on totally different properties. It's an average headphone until you get them amped right. So, like, if I'm going to graph the Susvara, it better have a good pairing with it to get a good graph out of it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. So the whole graph thing just like annoys me. It's like, and as a consumer of headphones and headphone stuff, there are folks that are just using it as a way to get clicks to their channel. It's a profit-making industry. People have turned graphs into profit. And there's nothing wrong with making a buck at anything, but know that you're being used to get clicks on their website for something that doesn't really mean all that much in the end. So, I don't know. Director rant. But I get it. I mean, some folks just, want to deal with it. It's nothing I will ever be interested in. Harman, whatever, it doesn't. I think there's issues. I think there's issues with it all over the place when you start talking about when you start talking about graphs. There's too many variables that will affect what a graph will show you. Too many variables, and I'm perfectly happy if somebody wants to disagree with me. It's fine. Go disagree. It's just my feeling. My feeling is like it's a version of snake oil, and you're being sold it. You're being told that this is important. This is, this matters. This is science, and it's not. There's problems with it. There's problems all over the place with it. Playmate 2, yes, that's your amp, the Burson. Yes, his PC is next to him. Yeah, man, I feel your pain. That's got to be rough. Burson build quality is second to none. I love Burson amps. I owned a Burson. That was one of my favorite amps I owned too. I owned a solid state Burson. I don't think did they make a tube? I don't know if they make a tube anymore. They had like a tube variant, I think, early in their run. Maybe I'm wrong. Cable came with the headphone. Oh, that's great. And I got to tell you, getting back to Ryan, where is it? This is a cable so good. I'm going to try this with the Susvara because it's got 3.5s that you can kind of interchange. My little pet peeve in the headphone world: you give us connectors that are similar, so we can change them out. I fully support this 3.5 thing. But yeah, I'm going to try these with the Susvara. This is a great cable. This is and I haven't even had the little packet. Where was it? I don't know. But it's Viking Weave, and he had somebody make this for him, some company. But he's including this with his mod house, and I love the connector. The connector's like a pirate thing. I just love it. It's great. It's got a big X on it. It's cool. It's cool. So get a great cable with the mod house tungsten as well. Fabulous. But I like that cable. That's a great cable you got with him. Hi from Louisiana, P. Velcro. Vacro. P. Vacro, cheers. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the live stream. It's a Wednesday Hump Day Happy Hour Hangout. It's Director's Garage. Cheers, everybody. Zeos was at Can Jam this year at the same time you were. Well, I didn't run into a lot of people. I will have to get a camera. Yeah, or your most laptops have something in the lid, don't they? Oh, you have a home station. Yes. But that way we can at least show off our stuff. It'll be fun. And I get to put faces to names that I have no idea what you guys look like. Noble just announced the X-MEMS Falcon Max. Oh, really? That's cool. I didn't see that. Dr. John Moulton coming through again. I got to get out of this. How do I get out of this? Let's see if I've got something on that. Let's go to Noble, see if there's anything on it. That's good info. I love that. Hang on. Noble Audio Falcon Max. Yeah, there it is. Okay, we'll go to the laptop of death. Breaking news from who was that who told us? Ginger Hermit. Cheers, Ginger Hermit. Let's go show them off. Because we can. Auto. Oh, there they are. God, they do beautiful stuff. All right, let's go full screen. I can't zoom in on this, but yeah, it's another nice Noble product. Look at the design. So that's going to be just like their Falcon Pro, where you can charge them in the case. Comes with a nice case. I can't wait to see what they wind up doing. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Solid state fidelity. There's a lot of stuff coming from Noble. Watch Noble in the next year. They're going to be doing some crazy stuff. I know a little bit of it, and I know enough to say watch Noble. They've got great stuff coming up. Man, that's cool. That's cool. Are they for sale yet on the Noble site? Let's see. Noble. It doesn't look like it. Shop. Clearance, wired, wireless, universal. Let's see. Mystique. No, they're not up there yet. So you can't pre-order them, but they'll be pre-order, I'm sure, any day. Audio 46 will have them for sure. Go over there. You can use the coupon code Directors Garage, all one word, at No Audio 46 and get 5% off most of the items they carry. Shipping starts 12/18. What are you seeing? Oh, you probably from the press release. I didn't read all that because it's going to take too long. Pronunciation is IMJ. Okay. J for Jonathan. All right, IMJ. I'm gonna call you IMJ. I haven't listened to a lot of tube amps, but I haven't heard. Let's see. I haven't listened to a lot of tube amps, but I haven't heard ones I love. That doesn't make sense to me. Dwayne, what does that mean? I've listened to a lot of tube amps, and I like them. I like them as they're a different flavor. They do nice stuff. DCA the Curve. I'm with you, Director. I like Resolve and those guys, but graphs are not useful at all. It's like bedrooms and square footage specs on a home. JTB has a huge chain. And I respect that about you, JTB. That's almost the comment of the day. You missed it. It was earlier in the stream. I go by how they sound when they, not how they measure. Plus, I'm deaf in one ear, so his hearing is different to other people. Oh, yeah. That's going to affect stuff, too. That's the other part of this. Everybody has different hearing. Like, everybody, there are certain frequencies to me that I can't deal with. 6K peaks, 8K peaks, like those are, I'm hypersensitive to that. And I've seen plenty of graphs that tell me that there's no peak there and I can hear a peak there. So I'm like, whatever. Whenever a viewer goes to graphs, Harman targets, blah, 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 I fast forward the video. Yeah. And I think that's part of the thing. Like, I decided when I was doing this, that was one of the very first decisions I made on this show. I made a decision on the show that I was going to do no jump cuts, unless it's like motivated. If I'm doing something funny and it's kind of quirky to do a jump cut, I'll do it for the sake of comedy or for storytelling. But I won't, you'll never see me like pull time out and you'll see me just jump, because there are guys on the YouTubes who literally can't get a sentence out and they wind up splicing together little phrases to make a sentence, and they leave all those cuts in, and you see them jumping everything, and I'm like, that's not going to be me. We're going to do a polished show that's got beautiful B-roll, the best B-roll I can shoot with my shaky hands, and then and it's going to be polished. It's going to be like something entertaining that people can watch. And part of that being entertaining is I'm not going to bore people with graphs. I am not going to do it. I think that graphs just bore the shit out of me. I just can't. I'm like, and then there's the whole graph industry. Like I said, I have no problem how people choose to make a buck, but I also see it's the equivalent of, I don't know, a busty redhead, whatever, for a thumbnail on your video. You know what I mean? Like, you click on it and it's like acid reflux disease or something, I don't know. It's like, it's clickbait. They get you over there to look at the graphs, but what they're selling you doesn't mean a whole bunch of anything. Do you think either the Phonitor X or the Cayin IH6 would drive the Tungsten? I would say that the Phonitor X would not. I don't know about the IHA6. That would be a question that we would have to get to Mr. Dietz, who may not be with us. I haven't seen him right in a few minutes. It may be. I would say if it can drive the HE6, you've got a pretty good shot at it. The Phonitor X, I can tell you won't, because the Phonitor X had problems with everything I drove with. That was one of those I bought. I traded. Did I buy that? I think I bought it because I saw somebody had reviewed the Sysfara with them. So I bought them to drive the Sysfara. That was one of my Sysfara experiment amps, and I got it in here and I'm like, this ain't doing anything at all. And so the place where I saw I'm not even going to say the place where I saw the review. I could, but I'm not. But they were dead wrong. They were absolutely wrong. It was like, I'm like, this doesn't do anything for this headphone. And they were raving about how it just drove the Sysfara tonight. I'm like, it doesn't do crap for this far. It makes it sound just as ordinary as if I plugged it into, you know, the GSX Mark II. Doesn't do anything. So all three reviewers haven't even spent any time with headphones that they ranked. A 5-minute can jam impression isn't enough time to judge a headphone. I agree. It's a preposterous idea of a ranking list. Yeah, I'm like, it's got a good beat, but you can't dance to it. I don't know. It's fine. I have no problem. You know, sometimes it's fun to do, and I've done rankings on this show, but I've ranked headphones that I actually have bought and spent time with. And I also rank them in order. I'm very clear on that. These are my preferences. This is how I rank them. This isn't like how everybody should rank them. Take that. This is just my impression of these top headphones that I happen to have some really cool headphones here, and these are the ones that I think sound the best to me with the gear that I have in-house. You know, there's so many asterisks in there. To do that and to say that that's where the headphone is in a grand ranking system, I don't know. I don't know. But hey, do whatever you want. It's your life. It's cool. Just don't rank them by graph. I'm really double. Here's the graph. These are graphing better, so I'm ranking them higher. Ah! Yeah, and CanJam is like Kevin. CanJam is like the worst place to audition anything. It's the worst place to audition anything. So bad. A bad recording can make a headphone. Yeah, a bad recording source material. Good point, JTB. Bad recording can make a headphone or gear sound crappy too. Yeah, source, of course. Graphs are a data point, just like the price and build quality. One person's dream sound is another person's nightmare. Buy what you enjoy, and boy, enjoy what you like. Absolutely. And don't let anybody tell you that your $500 headphone is somehow lesser than. If you like it and it's something that you've just been striving to own and have saved for a long time, and you're proud of that, man, just enjoy that sound, man, because there's something to the emotional impact of getting something that you've been wanting for a long time. And I was at the Utopia was that headphone for me. It's a headphone that I always wanted, and I always wanted to get one in. And I finally got a Utopia, and I was so thrilled to get it in. And over time, I didn't appreciate it as much. But when I listened to that for the first time, that was the best Utopia ever built on the planet, and I'll die on that hill. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with enjoying something that you've really wanted for a long time. Even if your taste, you realize that your taste isn't in that lane anymore, or it's shifted, or you're appreciating different things about headphones over time and you're going in a different direction. That's fine. For that time, enjoy the hell out of whatever it is, and don't let anybody make you feel bad about something you bought. Well, other people don't matter. You matter. Ginger, I agree. Tried a ZMF Atrium and didn't grab me. I haven't heard the, you know, that's the other thing is I really haven't heard the more affordable ZMF offerings. I'm a fan, but I love ZMF, but as you know, I had a hard time with the Verite Openback, and I've listened to a bunch of ways, and then every time I would compare them to something, I had a hard time with that headphone. I think that the Atrium and the Caldera are so far ahead of that headphone. And I think they are. I think that's just Zach evolving in how he builds stuff and learning how to make things sound better, because they're 2 years removed. It's a newer thing. It's on the XMEM site. Yeah, I saw that. Okay. But yeah, I didn't see anything on the Noble site yet. Usually Noble will post something as soon as they're going to sell it. Or they'll go, maybe it's going to be at Audio 46. Let's see. I'll check real quick. We're talking about the new Noble. There's a wireless Noble coming out, true wireless. That's an XMEMS. Audio 6. There we go. Let's see if that's up for pre-order yet. They usually get stuff pretty quick. Final. Nope, not here. Not here. Let's go to the shop by brand. Oh, jeez. Oh, my computer doesn't like this. It's also the computer that's playing all the music, so it can be a challenge sometimes. Let's see, Noble. I'd show this to you, but it's not that interesting. Oh boy. Nope. Nope, not there yet. Not there yet. Okay, but it'll be there in a couple days, I'm sure, if it's on the XMEM site. So cool. He's getting the Moo Woody tube amp, Woo Mini tube amp. Chance D says. Dongle, any options on this item? Oh, are there any options on it? I don't think so. I think it's just kind of a plug and play deal, Chance. I did hear it. I thought it sounded good. I heard it at, I don't know what the output is on it, if it can output something that's like fabulous. If it's got really good, power out of it. I can't imagine it's going to draw that much power because it's going to drain the battery of your laptop or whatever it is you're plugging it into. But it looks great to me. I'm like, anything with tubes in it, Woo's going to do it as well as anybody. They know more about tubes than anyone in the market, I think. Maybe Vivo or somebody like that. Ginger Hermit says he has it and it's not portable at all. It requires some warm up, very susceptible to interference noise. Oh, so putting it on a phone would be a nightmare. But it would definitely give you that lovely tube sound once it warms up. So it sounds like it's going to be better on a laptop than on a phone. Interesting. Any spoilers about Hipster Cow says, any spoilers about the next top of the line shootout? Dying to hear how things have changed with all the new changes. Well, I'm not done changing yet, so I probably won't do a shootout until we get, something major, until we get the final setup. I got to sort through these amps first. That's for sure. Maybe in the spring or something. It's been a year though, so I suppose I could do one soon. How the hell? Enjoy the hell out of those $35 Dora the Explorer headphones from Target. Yeah, I prefer Hello Kitty. I think the Hello Kitties are have a little more detail, and they have a little more shaped bottom end than the Dora. Dora doesn't have a good bottom end. God, I'm going to jail. If the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, is the sound in the ear of the listener? Yeah. Okay, I'll buy that. Why not? That's a good point, Chance. I like that. Yes, forget the phone for the Woo Mini 6XX Meze Lyric sound great on it, though. Oh, I'm sure. I love the Lyric. I think the Lyric is a great closeback. I finally decided to sell my Sennheiser HD-820. I listed them at like $1,200. But I just think that I'm finally ready to. I really realized that I haven't pulled out the HD-820 in a long time. And if I was going to pull out the HD-820, which is a closeback, I would pull out the Lyric before I'd pull out the HD-820. And I enjoy the Lyric as a travel headphone, so it doesn't make sense for me to sell that. So I think the 820 was something I should just liquidate and sell. So I listed them at $1,200. Is that a good price? It seems like a pretty good price. They're new, they're in the $1,500, $1,600 range. These are like brand new. They're really in great shape. 3 cables, soft case that I bought aftermarket that's molded to the headphone. I don't know. I thought $1,200 was a fair price on that. Tell me I'm wrong, boys. Last few, then we're going to be saying goodnight for this Director's Garage live stream. Again, the 23rd of December is our Patreon live stream. Patreon Zoom live stream. Anyway, link below to Patreon. It'll explain it. It's the $5 tiers where you need to go. That's just to help me pay for the subscription to Zoom and to get the riffraff out so people don't just jump in and start trolling. Although I can probably just mute them or whatever, or ban them, banhammer them. I just don't want to deal with it. I'd rather just have us come in and have a good time and not worry about it. So that's over on, I'm planning on December 23rd, 9:30 in the morning Pacific is going to be the first ever Director's Garage live stream Zoom where we get to interact and see each other and talk back and forth. which I'm looking forward to because I'm tired of talking all the time. Maybe, Michael, you'd like the Carina. Supposedly, it's an E-stat that does bass well. Yeah, and I think I think somebody's going to have to send it. I'm kind of like, I've got a little bit of a fatigue on the Dan Clark audio stuff right now. I'm just a little leery of it because I've been so wanting to like their stuff, and I get disappointed that I don't like it, and I'm like, and it's like Charlie Brown with the football. How many times do I got to, line up the football and try and kick it and hope that it sails before I realize that Lucy's gonna pull that football away from me. Did you try the Expanse with the Enlium? Yes, Rodrigo. And your Enlium is finally going to make its way back to you guys. Rodrigo works at Audio 46, and he's the one who personally shocked me with the Enlium send. He sent it our way. So we have to fully thank and raise our glass to Rodrigo. Cheers, Rodrigo, for getting us the Enlium. I am getting it back to you, I swear, my friend. And I still have the box. I haven't thrown anything away. You'll get it back to you. Because he's the man who got us that Enlium, and it's such a good amp. I just got to figure out, I got to sell enough stuff to be able to afford one. And then I'll be going, Rodrigo, can you sell me that other one at a discount now that I've opened it and used it on the show? Oh God, it's endless. I love the amp. It's a good amp. So we're gonna have a full review of that next week, by the way. That's coming. That's in the next week, and then as soon as I shoot the B-roll for that episode, I'm gonna box it up and I'll send it back to you. You can have your amp back. I'm so sorry it's taken me this long, but I've been using it. At least I've been plugging Audio 46 every step of the way. Every time I mention it, it's like the Enlium that we got from Audio 46. God, I just felt bad. That's funny. So yeah, I'm just like, the Carina, I would listen to it if I got it, but I don't know that I want to buy another Dan Clark product right now. I need to get a little distance between me and the Dan Clark world, I think, and then I'll come back to it. Or somebody can send me one, and I'll gladly listen to it then. I have no problem with it. It's just like I've been disappointed a lot, and I don't want to be. I want to love Dan Clark audio products, and I love the Aeon 2 Noir. It's one of the best closebacks I've ever heard. And Hipster Kyle says, as if on cue, sorry man, the 820 doesn't graph well, so it's essentially worthless. I enjoy the 820. It's just got a bizarre soundstage. That's the thing with it. And sometimes you get a little weird phasing, I guess, a little bit, but the soundstage is just, you've got to be on board for a jacked up soundstage that's not going to like present things in the order you expect it to be. Because everything just kind of comes at you from different angles and stuff. It's a cool headphone. And it's comfortable. And it's cool looking. So I'm like, yeah, it's a good headphone. I just am not using it right now. So I'm like, maybe that's one to... I'm looking for places where I can sort of shrink the director's garage inventory down. So that's why all the stuff is for sale. I got to kind of move some stuff out of here so I can move on and buy some new stuff. And make pay Rodrigo's salary. With the stuff I buy from Audio 46. Dying. Since you didn't like the Expanse, you won't like the Carina. Well, there you go. Maybe. But I'm willing to be open-minded about it. It's just like, I'm like, I don't know. But I didn't get a chance to hear him at Can Jam either. So there you go. Hail Rodrigo. Yes. Cheers, brother. Thank you so much for what you've done to the show. Really great stuff. Musical quote of the day: I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. That sounds like a country song, or maybe it's death metal. I don't know. Thanks, Rodrigo. Now you can get Michael a solid discount. Yeah, Oh, brother. They do so much for me over at Audio 46. I can't ask them for a thing. They're so good to me. So, guys, that's going to kind of wrap up this week's Director's Garage live stream. I want to thank all of you guys for stopping by today. Tip your waiters and waitresses on your way out the door. They work for free. And make sure you recycle your cans and bottles, and we'll close up the bar for the week, and we'll catch you hopefully this time next week. Maybe we'll get some more live streams in because we are heading into the holidays, and I'm not going to be as busy. Tom Waits, thanks on the quote, Stampsy. I love that, though. I love me a musical quote. I'm all on board for that. I'm going to start the outro music. So, yeah, and thank you guys for stopping by today. We'll have the full Enlium review, I'm hoping for next week. I'm going to try and push it through, but it all comes down to work, and I've got some pretty dicey days ahead of me in the next couple. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But thank you guys for stopping by. Have a great holiday if I don't see you next week or whatever. And don't forget the 23rd is the Zoom thing on the Patreon Zoom thing. Check that out. And yeah, go enjoy some music. Go listen to some Bob Dylan tonight. That's a good one. All right. I'll see you before you know it. Whatever.